Now, the English news, a two-day workshop on the 5th Chief Secretary's Conference and State Education Indicators, organized by Samagra Shiksha Nagaland, began at the Capital Convention Center, Kohima, on 24 July 2025. In her address, Commissioner and Secretary Kevileno Angami stressed the importance of quality education for building human capital under Viksit Bharat 2047, urging officials to reflect on their roles and engage seriously in policy discussions. State Mission Director Samagra Shiksha L. Jamithang Lodha highlighted declining enrollment and performance in government schools, poor data quality, and lack of coordination, calling for urgent reforms and stronger community engagement. Principal Director Shashank Pratap Singh raised concerns over staff negligence, poor attendance tracking, and protocol violations, urging accountability and interdepartmental coordination. The inaugural session was chaired by Dr. Kevizaki Rio, while inputs on 5th CA's conference were shared by Deputy Mission Director Kelhika Keni and Parak R.S. Nagaland. Report by reader SCERT Benjing Yade. As you continue to watch the coverage, we request our esteemed viewers to subscribe, like and share our channel to always stay informed.
एतिया नागामिस खोबर समग्र शिक्षा नागालैंड पारा 5th चीफ सेक्रेटरीज कॉन्फ्रेंस और स्टेट एजुकेशन इंडिकेटर्स ऊपर ते एकता 2 दिन लगा वर्कशॉप राख्या टू 24 जुलाई 2025 ते कैपिटल कन्वेंशन सेंटर कोहिमा ते शुरू हुई से कमिश्नर एंड सेक्रेटरी केविलेनो अंगामी इनोग्रल प्रोग्राम ते कोई से की विकसित भारत 2047 निमित्ते क्वालिटी एजुकेशन लगा एकता डंग रोल टू ह्यूमन कैपिटल डेवलप पूरे बोले आशे एटू पारा त्याहे एजुकेशन ऑफिसर्स खान के निजोर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बुजी किना सीरियस पारा कोठा पतिबो लगे कोई से स्टेट मिशन डायरेक्टर समग्र शिक्षा एल जमिथंग लोठा पारा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल खान ते स्टूडेंट एनरोलमेंट कॉम हो जा परफॉर्मेंस भी बिया हो जा डेटा क्वालिटी भाल ना था का अरु डिपार्टमेंट माजो ते कोऑर्डिनेशन ना था का ऊपर चिंता जनाई से एटू पारा त्या कोई से की जोलती भाल रिफॉर्म एनी बोले कम्युनिटी खान लगा पार्टिसिपेशन डोरकर आशे प्रिंसिपल डायरेक्टर शशांक प्रताप सिंह पारा स्टाफ खान लगा नेग्लिजेंस अटेंडेंस ते प्रॉब्लम अरु प्रोटोकॉल ना चुला ऊपर चिंता जनाई से अरु डिपार्टमेंट बितौर अकाउंटेबिलिटी अरु कोऑपरेशन था की बो लगे कोई से इनोग्रल सेशन टू जेडीएम डॉक्टर के विजाकी रियो चेयर कुरी से डीएमडी केल्हिका केनी 5th सीएस कॉन्फ्रेंस ऊपर कोठा शेयर कुरी से अरु SCERT रीडर बेंजन यादे परख RS नागालैंड रिपोर्ट भागपुरी से अपनी खान ए टू साटाइन ते व्यूअर्स खान के अमी खान लगा चैनल टू सब्सक्राइब लाइक अरु साथी खान के विभाग कुरी की ना हो दाई जानी की ना था की बोले अनुरोध कुरी आशे
We want to see the share of students. We have 70% of schools and the privates, they have 30%, but enrollment can be flipped, you can say it's reverse. When you talk about enrollment, you have many schools but less enrollment, and private schools have less schools but they have better enrollment. That is what I want to drive on actually. Even the share of teachers is 55-45. Now, this is the catch. In spite of the fact that there are many schools, the progression, if you see, the government schools are dropping. You can see the graph, it is ticking down. And probably so, I fear that it may even drop more if you really do the restructuring. So there is where the catch lies. So people wonder that there will be some or maybe drastic, what you call, slashing of the teachers' fund, and that matter it may amount to retrenchment of the teachers. Frankly speaking, if we go by the direction. Because if I am a businessman, I would not like to invest 2,000 crores in getting nothing. Similarly. But now we go to gross enrollment ratio, for that matter, we are somewhat hovering around this national average. Of course, we are better in primary, but it keeps peaking as we go along. This upper primary, elementary, I feel it should up, but just because we have these senses, I use this, but it's giving some confusion. But what we are seeing is going down the stage, it is getting lesser. It should be, but we are still lagging behind. Now coming to net enrollment ratio also, it's like that. We are almost getting the same average for the last 3 years. I took the average for the last 3 years. We are getting the same average. I would have to guess that even our UI's data is not very clean. Yes, it's much cleaner, but I feel something is wrong. We'll go back to our basics, census. As long as our primary data is faulty, in spite of the best efforts to give, we will not be able to do justice to this data because hydration will not come about. But leave that aside, but just for information, net enrollment ratio also is just hovering around for the last 3 years. Not much of a change, so I suspect something actually. It may be perfectly okay or we fudge the figures. And now the transition rate is quite high for us, so we don't that much. So that's why now, if the transition is very good, that means I think whatever data we are feeding, I think it's good because we are transitioning without much of a gap here, too much. Retention is where I am a little worried. Please look into this properly. Retention now from primary, it is slowly ticking 29. Let's say 73 is ticking to 29. Meaning to say that from primary we are losing some few students out, then from elementary, before they reach class 9, and then we are losing some 20% also, and same is the case with secondary to high secondary. So where are these students going? Are we making some dropouts, really dropouts, or are these people migrating to private schools? But I think we have to do some analysis. This is one thing which we would like to focus on the agency. I'm just trying to run too fast. We will come into details. The experts will tell you in details later on. Retention of it, fair enough. Even dropout rate, I think I've pressed too much. The dropout rate is increasing. If you look at it, it is showing better in some areas, but I think dropout rate for Nagaland, small state like Nagaland, we should keep it at a single digit, but we are crossing 10 plus. Even to keep the dropout rate at 5% for Nagaland, I think it's very high for us. Because now, if you talk in terms of numbers, Nagaland, the population is, let's say, 20 lakhs. I assume that the school-going children up to class 12 will be maybe 35%. Roughly so. If you take that 10% is coming very large, so I think we have to also look into this dropout rate. And we have to find out whether if they are dropped out in a system, the education system, are they also enrolled in the open schools or some other schools, or not, we have to look into. This is your Aadhaar analysis. We have 62% coverage of Aadhaar. This is inclusive of all government and private schools. But now the catch is of the 62% that we have Aadhaar enrollment in the schools, only 52 are validated. That means actually, although we are doing to keep Aadhaar, your automated testing, we can only issue for 52%. So now this, I think we need to upscale this goal. I'm aware that the school education department also made a register of Aadhaar. So you are given this what you call CLC kits and Aadhaar kits, children enrollment kits and Aadhaar enrollment kits, AEKs. So you may have a look. District not doing well. In fact, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 districts have crossed 50%. Where's our below this validate? I'm talking about it was when we are to switch on to Aadhaar, we have to have validated Aadhaar. I'm a little worried because actually if we have 100% full enrollment, at the most what we should be seeing is should not be less than 85 to 90% of your Aadhaar. That means we are not doing well. This is what we call it low hanging fruit. You bring in your operator and let them do Aadhaar thing in the school. It's very simple actually, but I don't know why this is not taking up. This is Aadhaar. Automated permanent listening academic thing. So now we are at 34. But government schools, please be warned, we are at 24. We are riding on the back of private schools. Your average is 34 because we are riding on the back of the government schools, government private schools, but of course even private schools are not doing too well. Before I come to this, let's complete this. Now, let us come to the outcomes, crux to the issue. I didn't want to spend much time going back to the last 4 pages, but because it gives us a good representation for the last 4 pages, so I took only this. This year's result, HSLC, common pass percentage is 48, private is 48. You can say roughly more than 50% more than us. Whereas we are spending maybe 3 times more in private schools in the teacher salary. Then I am very glad that the higher secondary section, we are not far behind private, and everyone knows actually fine. We are doing quite well in your higher secondary section, but we are not able to replicate the same thing to the other sections. Let's see, your secondary is elementary and primary. So I think we have to give a thought how to convert this good thing, this positive thing to the lower classes. That is what I want to let you know. And this year we have done some assessment on foundational stage, the FLN thing. Now to the VSK, we could track students of their learning activities. So for the state, let us say 31% is in beginner. I would say they don't know anything. Beginner is just, please as you know, they are not doing anything. 51% is in development. They know something but have not mastered. Then you have proficient, only 16%. This is in foundational stage. Just look at the figures. Now our strive should be how at least with this developing proficient. There I think experts will tell you better, but now we know for each district, if we want to break down the data, we can build down the data to your level. Where it is lacking, where we need to improve. Well, again, we start from the paras, para and master. So you have to watch out. I was a little taken aback to see Kohima. Kohima was not doing well. But I thought Kohima should be doing well, but you can see the red one. What struck me most here was Kohima, of course. So this is what we should be doing now. We have done assessment and VSKs have become a backbone, data. So now, these are the things which I would like us to concentrate data stage, and then I would like to come back on this. Now, we have basically called you for this workshop to discuss many of these main themes. These themes, we would like to start with your human capital for leadership talents, school building blocks. School building blocks. Now, India, in general, the target of India is that by 2047 we want to be a developing nation. So developing nation means we also talk in terms of leadership, but we also talk in terms of money. So now the target is by 2047, India targets to achieve $18,220 US dollars. Meaning, if you take today's average, let's say we keep the price constant, it will be 16 lakhs per head. That is the target. Today we are somewhere at 2,40,000. So from 2,40,000 today, they want to jump to 16 lakhs per head. So that is the target. So now, to get money, you need grades. So now that is where we are needed actually. Because now, the world, this labor statistics tells us that by 2047, in the labor market, every fourth person will be in India. That is what they are estimating. So maybe every fourth able-bodied in the labor market is in India. If they are just like Modia, they are not earning anything. So now we have to educate our people now. That's why the investment in education comes. That logic is here actually. So now they are putting a lot of emphasis on education. They have been actually, Indian government have been actually increasing the funding on school education. They have increased gradually. Now I think it is at 4.1 of the GDP, but it's a huge amount. Now to achieve that, we have to bring back our children to schools. So the target is how do you achieve 100% GER? Meaning to say that you bring one child to school from LKG to class 12, you should pass out and should pass out with some skills. No, skilling coming here. Those days, you get qualification, it was a degree, it was not employability. Now this new education policy is aiming that bring this child to school and the time he completes school, let's say school year is class 12. By the time he completes or she completes class 12, they should be employable, they should be market ready. That's where the skilling factor comes in quite a lot here. And when it comes about this thing, market readiness, they are always, yes, carried away by your AI, blockchain, whatever. For Nagas, I think we have to do some rethinking. Let us do mystery job. Hey, you know what, mason. No computer, no AI will change, will come and do your plastering. I think we have to learn something there. Even plumbing, pipe. The food will make a computer to feed pipes to our houses. Everything is unique to each school. So these kind of things where even maybe up to 50 years where the human labor will be required, I think we have to focus somewhere there. Yes, we have to know what is AI, we have to know what is rocket science, but I think we have to also go to the basics where we can easily master and to be able to be employed anywhere. Not only Nagaland, we are not talking about Nagaland state. Now, basically the scenario in Nagaland, I'll go to India first. In India is, we have, in economic terms, we call 3 sectors. Agricultural sector, industry sector, and service sector. Generally, these are things we call primary, secondary, and tertiary. But this is city kora, industry kora, service kora. Now, if you break up the labor now, 45% or so is agriculture, 25% is in industry, remaining 35% is in services. So now, the idea is how to shift this agri-wallahs, because normally in agriculture, the returns are less. And it so happens that unlike USA, most of our agriculture is agriculture in USA, these are rich people, they do high debt agriculture. But for Indians, actually these are poor people, so how to bring up, take out from this 45% and saturate in this service sector? That is where the government of India is looking at, and Nagaland position may be worse. I think our reliance on agriculture may be a little more than 60, maybe around 60%. And remaining industries, they are, let's say, good at one. There is not good, so we put at one, and remaining is service. Service money, government. We are not talking, we are not creating, we are only consuming actually. So now that is where the catch is. So now, not only India, but we have to look inside, within our kitchen. That is what I would like to emphasize. Now coming back to one in four laborers in the job market in 2047 will be Indians. So we'll be in India. Assume that India can be 1, 2, 3 work for India. So maybe after calling 167, 1 now will go. If the Naga is not professional, what we do? Because we are in the fourth, but in the not we call the fourth, I believe. After calling out 60, 70 times Indian, we make it maybe about 70, Naga will be there. So how we skill actually in such a scenario? Because we'll be finding big over. Actually, we are to look into deeper because actually we cannot be so reliant on government. I'll come to the financials later. But to be very frank, we cannot be too reliant on the government side. We have to think of something where we have to inculcate skilling with your education degree for our students. Before they pass out class 12, we should be very clear that we are educating our children and we are making our children employable. So now, when we talk about this part, human capital. Human is no more a liability, they are an asset. Now whether we make asset of our children or liability, it will be a responsibility. Because today, thankfully now, we are the face of education today. Whatever we decide today will have impact. If we do not act now, we may have to fight for the next 20 years. So that is why basically we have come down and called you to let you know that this is our position. Now what do we do? Now we have to come up with district specific, maybe block specific or maybe village specific issues where we let fit to us whether we can also influence the politicians to come up with some policy changes tailored to our specific needs. Not that generating India saying this, so we do this, not that. One size fits all will not happen. So now that is why we have got it here. We have brainstorming session and for discussion. When it comes to this, I would also like to break down some data and data. I was just running through the salary component for the state of Nagaland. And the perception with our, especially teachers, and then those people, officers, staff, manning, education department, officers, government of Nagaland is not very friendly to them. But I would tell you, we are the most favored department amongst all the departments. Are you aware we have 82 demand for grants? Let's say, let's say education, police, maybe district administration, maybe agriculture, we have 82 demand for grants. I have just ran the issue, the total of the salary component. We are consuming 26%, more than 26% of the salary component, school education. With a 20 or little more than 20 or 20,000 of employees, including your non-teaching staff. Last year it was 20,900 something. Must have government this year. But then we are actually eating the chunk of government's salary component, and we said the government is not favorable to education. That perception has to be out. I think we should consider that we are the most favored department by the government now. If you look into the salary component, because money will go. This is not my thing. If you run the figures, you go and check the finances, what is done out in the budget, you will find so. And additionally, there's a 6.5% increase of your salary this year. I was just writing the budget this morning. So now we have to, I think we move that idea that government of Nagaland is not very friendly education department. That has to go. Now we have to think what is our output. If your output is good, then I think so there will be some changes. But if we are spending so much, roughly we are spending, last year the expenditure of the government was, I think a little less than 19,000 crores for the school education department. Salary no. So 1853.89. This year they have increased to 19,000 plus. So please let us not talk ill of the government also. Government also from the human beings, so they'll feel the pinch when they feel that we pay you this much, you are not giving it output, definitely they'll issue in time. In fact, we should be very thankful to the government because in spite of a good result which I told you, government has not taken any action against any of us. But I think this has to go. There should be reward and punishment. We have to go back to our own model. If you do well, you should be rewarded. If you don't do good, the same should apply, you should be punished. I think this kind of, we cannot be always nice. We have to talk the hard facts now. What is to be done, I think we have to, since now the machinery of the school education department is here today, we will have to discuss our issues and then find ways and means how to give suggestions to the government also. In these themes, I'll tell you, there's PGI. PGI report we got. We have seen some improvements, but let us not talk ill of ourselves also. We have seen improvements, but I feel we need to improve. Because I am not going to the details because we'll be breaking down component-wise, sub-theme-wise later on. But yes, not only gloom and doom. We have made some improvements, but we still need to improve. Even in the Bharat report, NAS report, we have seen improvements. Yes, we were at the bottom, we have to climb up one step up. But at least that's a climb, don't worry, it's okay. We are making some efforts. But we have climbed up. That is one positive step. That details will be shared by experts later on. And then we'll come back to you guys. Now, the government, for that matter, the world is running in such a way we are all based on data. And data generation is very important because normally what you feed in the school is relayed to us and it goes to data. So if your primary data is faulty, the whole thing is dirty. You cannot rectify it. So now I would request each and every of you that as and when you visit schools, please tell them that they should fill up their data very clearly. Let's say they don't have what a functional talent, they said they have talent. Now, if you ask the Ministry of the Finance, they are not doing. This is what some of the problems which we are facing now. You have already populated the data as if you have everything, but then if you come to the ground, it's not working. So these kind of things, I think we have to wait. Then, PMC schools. PMC schools are example schools. Wherever the officers are looking after these PMC schools, I would wish that you pay a visit and you should be prompt enough to give any report as and when asked for. Because normally Delhi does not wait ask that you give data after 1 week. Immediate, actually, the world has become so small. Information, what is asked now, they want in real time now. Kali question asked for Haine. Delhi will keep testing us, but if we have no control with the schools, my small observation, please comment. And I still in your school education department I think for the last 3 months or so. But the weakest thing, chain I found is the directorate has no link with the TEOs, TEO has no link with the STOs, STOs do not know where the schools are also actually. I want to point out the fact. What are you doing? And why you kept? Well, I was in district administration, I was at the district commission of Nagaland. Anything you want, I tell my ESC, get it done. I tell nobody will get me done. That is not happening. They don't believe not no one. Because you think it's everybody's job, but nothing gets done. So this kind of mentality will not work. Even if you are retiring today, you work as if you'll be there forever. Just because you have the excuse, TEOs are sent just for 1 month, 2 months, that is not an excuse. Please do your job, give justice to the job. That is what I would request. I leave no stone unturned. I tell the best to be very clean with you. But I want to be very impartial in my observation. I will say what I feel, I have observed. I will not be very nice. I will try to be as clear as possible to all of you. So there is where the chain of command is nil, zero. What are you commanding? I don't know. Then how do you, if you cannot even go to one school, why do you say you are an officer? Leave the job and give to someone else. Don't tell me that you are dying next month, next year. That is not an excuse. Even if you retire today, you are paid, you have to do it. If I am an entrepreneur and I'm going to spend 19,000 crores in a year, I will give you, I will get 100 schools which will give me 100 plus percentage pass. This is not happening. We have to ask ourselves, we have to do justice to order. Nothing more, but let us do justice to order. We cannot keep on delegating where I do not know. Please take responsibility. Until unless we do this, we are killing the next generation. We are begging on you that the next generation rises up. Now, if you don't do your part or inaction, also that's it. Let's see. We are not talking about action, but your inaction is killing us every day. School education department, what I've seen is, it is the inaction, loud inaction that is actually not taking the school education up. And coming back to vocational institutions, I think we have at present 171 schools which are giving vocational education, and we are planning to onboard another 15 next year. And there was a catch here. Other years, this assessment and certification body was from outside the state. But thankfully now, I think by this year, we hope that NPSC will be able to give both tools. They have already registered, and we are hoping that NPSC will be given the authority to assess and certify. So that should make our work easier, and I think we should also bring in more vocations once NPSC comes in and as per the needs of the state. Another part is inclusive education. Now, roughly going through the data, it seems something is wrong with the data collection. We don't have Lengara, Tukopia, 15 about Pontiasa. Is it very low? It should not be so, because we have some agreements with the neighbor. The A data I can import from any country in the world and see the average. If we average out, we are falling far below the average. I think we need to keep certain, big part of this. Yes, even the parents, I feel there's still stigma involved, so some perception changes need not teachers, parents also, but we are not properly identified. That is what I feel. And for these out of school children also, I think we are doing, but doing just for the sake of doing at the moment. When they did box us, we said, okay, we need this and that, but I think here also we have to put our mind in. And then Vidyan Jali also recently, Kelika went to Delhi. We are very good in community participation, but that was not reflected in the report. So he has requested these officials that even your community participation should be reflected in the report. So it is actually done. But at the same time, I would request that you also know that please tell your school in charges that whatever is in need, put your offer on Gitanjali. I mean, our school, they don't share anything. It's okay, let them go. Whether the NGOs, whether the CSR will give us or not, but keep a demand. But that is not happening. I would request you can sensitize the school heads that to also use this Gitanjali portal. VSK is a thing where we also take your school attendance, the teachers' attendance, and your the students' attendance. But here also, I would say that we are a little more than 60%. 40 also percent are not responding well or do not want to respond. So here also we have to look into. This is just an observation. Some insights I get in my short stay in school education is I just want to pass. See, we are in such a situation now, let's say there's one private school and one government school in one village. The perception of the people is that I would like to send a child to a private school. How do we make this perception? Where are we? Because we have the concept act. Normally, our Nagas prefer private schools. They actually do not know that we have the best trained teachers, paid well. Yes, there were some issues with our infrastructure. It was not very appealing. But for the last 10 years, we have improved quite a lot. So, last school, classroom, so this perception change to take them, but I think it has not started changing. Even the parents should also be made aware that to fund your child from LKG to class 12 to cost you maybe 1 lakh per 12 lakhs. But if you send to government school, in 12 years you spend at the most less than 50%, let's say 3 lakhs. Because in the end, it is financial thing that will come to us. It will bite us actually. Now the issue is that parents are willingly and willfully sending the children to private schools, but by the time the class pass 12, they have no money to send the children out for science. Many of the villages. Are you seeing on? Class 12 So now, if we can save up the 12 lakhs, the 12 years, and then send them outside, it's possible actually. We have to think in terms of money sometimes. Because I'm only giving you the bird's eye view. You have to give me the bird's eye view. Whichever, that is why we have put for this workshop, and I wish we have a very healthy interaction, and I hope with a 2-day workshop we will be able to bring about some positive change for the state of Nagaland, especially in school education. Thank you.
I hope all of us are aware that education is a very big industry. There's two players, the private and the public. And therefore, as government employees, let us make sure that we produce more students, and we hope that in the days to come we will have more students in our industry. Now, I would call upon our Sir Shashank Pratap Singh, IS, our Principal Director, to address us, but before he comes to the stage, we will acknowledge him. So now I will our sir to address the August. I would like to share some of my observations pertaining to the functioning of the directorate and the district offices. First of all, I'm sure you must all have been aware that we have issued a press release regarding the status update on teacher attendance monitoring system in Smile app, where we have mentioned that 1500 odd numbers of teachers have not marked their attendance even once in last 4 months, and more than 150 institutes have not marked their attendance. Their attendance is marked as 0. So let me take today's opportunity, since we have with our district officials some data on the Smile app of the district offices also. So that press release was in general for all the offices and schools. Today I would like to share some data on the district establishment. We have total 49 establishments in the districts. Out of total 49, let me mention first the silver lining. The office of D.O. Mokokchung, D.O. Mon, Senior S.D.O. Mon, D.O. Twensan, and S.D.O. Bhandari. They have consistently marked their attendance more than 75%. So it's a good data, I would like to say, but still you have scope to improve. It should reach at least somewhere 90 or north of 90. So out of total 49 establishments in districts, 34 establishment has marked less than 50% attendance. It's almost 2/3. So 2/3 of the establishment in the districts have marked their attendance less than 50% in last 4 months. 17 out of 49, 17 has marked less than 10% attendance, almost 20%. And 10 establishment has marked almost 0% attendance. Out of 49, 10 establishment has marked attendance almost 0%. 0% means less than 1%, some they have marked 0.5%, some they have marked 0.3%. Less than 1% are considering almost 0%. So around 20% out of 49, 10. So 20% establishment has marked their attendance almost 0%. These are the, I will not here do naming and shaming. I'm sure the concerned in charge of the district establishment offices are aware how punctual they are and how regular they are in the office and their staff. So I request all of you to kindly be more vigilant, kindly stay in the station. All the government offices basically the officer driven. An MTS or PU cannot make an office more or in a better functioning. Only the officer who is manning the office can make the office more efficient, more transparent. So I would like to request all the district establishment in charge to be more vigilant, to be more punctual in the offices, so that the staff should come on daily basis and mark their attendance on the TAMS portal. There might be few here and there legal issues, there might be some minor technical glitches, but majorly the app is functioning well. So this is the first issue, and another one is related to this issue. In last 3 months, I have observed that many representation, starting from the teachers, from the staff, from the SMC and SMDCs, from the student union, from the village council, and from 10 numbers of quarters, they usually come to my office to meet me personally and submit the representation without having any endorsement from the office of DO and senior SDOs, which is a clear violation of the protocol.
And when I inquire with them why you are not going to DA office, they every time mention that they don't stay in the stations. I'm sure in majority of the cases it might be false also. I believe that my DOs and SDOs stay in the station, but just because they don't make people feel their presence, they come to the DOSC to submit the representation without having any endorsement from the concerned district establishment in charge. So I request all of you that you stay in the station. I believe that you all stay in the station in place of posting, but when you are staying there, let people feel your presence also. Don't just sit like any other office in charge in the districts, because you have so many establishments in your jurisdiction. Depending on the size of district, every DEO or senior SDO is having more than 50-60 schools in the jurisdiction, and you have presence in each and every villages. So kindly stay in the station, visit to the schools, have regular interaction with the SMCs, SMDC, student union and all. And on top of all, you all can issue a circular in your jurisdiction that no representation should go to the DOC without the DO, the senior SDO's endorsement. Otherwise, whatever I am receiving in my office without your endorsement, I am sending back to the office of DOs and SDOs for your verification. I may receive more than 50 representation a day, but I cannot say how true or false they are. They might be true, they might be false also. Sometimes the CSOs, they exaggerate the situation also. So I am sending all of them to all of you for verification, but kindly ensure that your presence should be felt by each and everyone in the district. The second issue I would like to, basically I am taking the opportunity of the presence of district officials today, since many of the issues where DOSC and Samagra have convergence, our SMD sir has given a very detailed presentation. I will not go into those details. I would just like to mention an observation. The second observation is regarding land verification report from the districts. Many applicants come to the office and they apply for the job of MTS grade 4 on the basis of land ownership. In few cases, I have observed that the land verification has been conducted by the SDO or the senior SDO. I would like to sensitize all of you that land administration is completely under district administration. An SDO or senior SDO cannot chair or cannot hold an land verification committee meeting. It has to be convened by the area administrative officer. In that meeting, SDO or senior SDO can be part of that meeting. He or she may append his signature also, but it has to be chaired by the area administrative officer in presence of the SDO or senior SDO or DO and SMC, SMDC and all the stakeholders. And then this land verification report has to be forwarded by the office of concerned admin officer to the district commissioner office, and then district commissioner office shall forward to the DOSC. This is the procedure where it has been observed few cases where the SDO or senior SDO has done the land verification and was submitted to the office of SDO or ADC, and SDO ADC has just forwarded the letter. We are not going to accept this type of land verification report. It will surely land us in the court cases. Third observation is regarding PM Poshan meetings, inclusion of PM Poshan in Disha meetings. As a general statement, I would like to mention here that all the DOs and senior SDOs has to be in close touch with their deputy commissioners. in the month of April, we have attended one PAD meeting in the Ministry of School Education, where they have mentioned that in none of the Disha meetings in Nagaland, PM question has not been discussed in any of the Disha meeting in Nagaland. So I am sure in Disha committee in the districts, DUs are also member of the Disha committee. All the DUs and senior DUs has to be close touch with all the DCs, and you should insist to all the deputy commissioner, to the respective deputy commissioner, to include the agenda of PM question in every Disha meetings. Recently, I came across that our honorable MPs, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they visited two districts and they conducted Disha meeting. So I personally talked to few DCs and somehow we could able to include the PM question agenda in the Disha meetings. But I would like to remind all of you that it is the DU responsibility, it is the responsibility of DUs to get in touch with the DCs and insist to be that the PM question, implementation of PM question has to be part of Disha meeting. The fourth issue I would like to focus here, the convergence with health department, particularly the RBSK, Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram, and distribution of iron and folic acid tablets, and other related issues where we have convergence with the health department. Let me include another agenda here where we have convergence with the social welfare department also. So I am sure all DOs are member of the committees who are looking after these issues. So again, you have to be in close touch with the deputy commissioner. You have to be in close touch with the head of the offices of health department and social welfare department, and you have to coordinate with this department for the streamlined implementation of the schemes where we have convergence with the health and social welfare. Somehow, if it's not materializing, you have to escalate this issue with the respective DCs, and DCs should intervene. And if you're not getting cooperation from any district, so you're feel free to visit my office, or even you can call me, you can WhatsApp me. I will speak on behalf of all of you. But ultimately, since you are at the ground, you have to be active. As I mentioned earlier, you have to make people feel your presence in the districts. Another issue I would like to focus here, recently I got one representation from Dimapur. The representation was regarding closure of schools in anticipation of heat waves. Let me sensitize all of you that heat wave, cold wave, flood situation, it's all a disaster related incidences. Deputy commissioners are the ex-officio chairman of the District Disaster Management Authority, and under DMA Act, Disaster Management Authority Act 2005, the DCs have been given sweeping powers. So, no application should come to WC directly without endorsement of DCs. DCs have the sweeping authority to issue order for closure of the schools in his jurisdiction if the situation demand that we have some sort of disaster related incidences which requires the closure of the school. DC has the sweeping authority. If DCs don't want to do that, at least get a endorsement letter from the DCs. Otherwise, like Dimapur issues, I have to write to the DC Dimapur for their views and comments. It may delay the request. So you all have to be, again I'm mentioning you all have to be close with DCs for your these issues, for closure of the school, for PM question, for convergence with the health department, social welfare. All these issues you have to be close with the DCs, and you have to make you feel to be the people should be feel your presence in the districts. Otherwise, This all issues which are supposed to be sorted out at district level will keep coming to the department, to the DSC, and we will not get enough time to focus on the broader issue, the larger issues. So I request and anticipate the support and cooperation of all of you. And once again, I request all of you to take the TAMS and SMILE more sincerely, and I'm sure that you yourself and your staff must be attending office very regularly, but SMILE app or TAMS is a behavioral change. Sometimes we also forget to mark attendance in the directorate, so it might be case with you also. So I just request that you have to be take it a bit sincerely, or you can just set alarms in your mobile phone also that 10:30 p.m. you have to mark attendance for in, and maybe 4:30 you have to mark attendance for out. You can set alarm also. So once you will start marking attendance in the TAMS SMILE app, you have to insist to the staff also that though they are regularly attending the office, they have to mark attendance on Bible break also. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views and thoughts to us. Now, I'll call upon Srimati Nagamese, the Commissioner and Secretary, School Education and SCRT, to address the gathering.
You. First of all, I would like to give thanks to the God Almighty for giving all of us this opportunity to come and gather together to discuss issues which are important to us. I would also like to take this time to acknowledge Samagra Shiksha for organizing this 2-day workshop for the district officials and diet to discuss the issues for the 5th Chief Secretaries Conference and the state indicators. The State Mission Director has given a very exhaustive presentation on the status of our education, on our performance on the various pillars which affects the school education ecosystem, and so I would not be dwelling on many of those issues. We are also grateful to the Principal Director. He has given the factual status of what is going on in our school education system and what we need to do to improve ourselves. We talk about Viksit Bharat. The State Mission Director had also mentioned about Viksit Bharat, which is Developed India. And for Developed India to take place in 2047, as envisaged, we need to have the developed states. All the states, including the union territories, if they are all developed, then only we can have a Viksit Bharat. And there comes in a developed Nagaland. And to have a developed Nagaland, the human capital is one of the pillars. You would have seen this in the folders which has already been circulated to all of you. You already have the folders. The human capital is one of the pillars for the country, for the state, for the country to be developed. And therein, education is one of the critical pillars for the human resource development. Quality education is the foundation for building the human capital. And herein comes in our role as education managers, as teachers, as policy makers in the school education ecosystem. So this morning I would not speak so much, but I want all of us to introspect and see whether we are delivering as expected. As the State Mission Director had mentioned earlier, are we killing the future or are we nurturing the future? As officers here in the Directorate, in the Secretariat, in the mission, in the district, in the blocks, in the schools, are we nurturing our future, the future of the state, or are we killing them? That is one question I would like to pose to all of you when we talk about Viksit Nagaland, Viksit Bharat. We all have a very important role to play. No one should be underestimating ourselves, yourself. We have been placed in this position for a purpose. You have chosen to be in the school education department. It's a choice for many of you. It's your personal choice to be in the school education department for many of you. So if it's a chosen profession, are we getting that satisfaction by delivering or not? That is what I want to pose to all of us. So this morning, I won't get into the details. You would be having this sessions where we would be discussing on preparing for the 5th Chief Secretaries Conference, the state-specific notes, the notes from the various officers. Then you would also be discussing on the PGI, the performance indicators for the state, the performance grading index. And this index which we have this morning and which we see is also an outcome of the input from all of us. The government of India has not developed this PGI on their own. It is inputs from all of us. So whether we have done justice or not, that is for all of us to question ourselves, to pose that question to ourselves. So with these few words, thank you very much for giving this time, and I hope you have a very fruitful session. In fact, it's going to be 2 days. So please, as Mission Director has shared with you, it should be a two-way traffic, and we expect that valuable feedbacks from all of you. And please also understand that these feedbacks, the feedbacks with the inputs which we receive from the blocks, from the schools, from the districts, they form the state feedbacks. They will form the state-specific notes to be submitted to the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for sharing your thoughts. I hope this 2 days workshop will be very fruitful for each and every one of us, because we have a lot to learn, and I think we have heard so much from our dignitaries that we have to improve. This reminds me of a saying that goes, go as far as you can, and when you reach there, you will still see further. And therefore, I hope this 2 day session will be brainstorming, and we will learn from each other. So
But one of the primary reasons for convening this 2-day workshop is on the 5th Chief Secretaries, National Chief Secretaries Conference theme, and also the sub-theme on school education. So the exercise, I'm sure, our State Mission Director has written letter to Deputy Commissioners and the same letter, endorsed to the diet through SCRT, to DOs, to SDOs, EBRCs, and also all the concerned, officers in the state. Along with the State Mission Director letter, we have also given you the concept note shared by the Ministry of Education and the feedback format in Word file. So, this part is very important. This is a session that nobody should miss. In fact, we are all here for this, primarily for this session. So, but this 5th Chief Secretary Conference feedback note briefing, this note does not require the whole time. So, we have included other, critical, like our State Mission Director said, critical reports like the Performance Grading Index report, PGI report, the UDICE, Rashtriya Survekshan report. All these are included in this exercise. Okay. Can somebody please call those who are still outside? Okay. Now this year, 2025 National Conference, the theme for the 5th National Conference for the Chief Secretaries 2025 is human capital for developed India, or human capital for Viksit Bharat. And under this theme, we have 5 pillars, of which education sector, school education is one of the main pillar, with schooling building blocks. So along with school education, we have early education laying the foundation, especially for 0 to 3 years. This is to be taken up by the Department of Social Welfare. Then skilling future ready workforce to be taken up by the Department of Labor and Employment. Then we have higher education, knowledge economy by the higher education. We have sports, evaluation, extracurricular beyond classroom by the Department of Sports and Youth Affairs. So these are the 5 major pillars. But as for the school education, we are interrelated with almost all the other pillars. So in this exercise, 5th Chief Secretary Conference exercise, there are 2 specific responsibilities that we have to fulfill. Number 1, feedback notes on schooling building blocks from officials of school education department. That includes the line department, SCRT, DIET, NPSC, Directorate of School Education, DO, SDO, down to school principals and headmasters, to provide feedback notes on schooling building blocks. Then another is by the state level. The state, after receiving all the feedback notes, we are required to compile a state-specific note on schooling building block. So there are 2 specific tasks that the department officials has to comply or fulfill within the timeline for this very important, extremely critical exercise. Now, why this is important? This is important because now as field officers, many of us have been involved in the field, from classroom to different capacities in the department for 20 years, 15 years, some of us 25 years, and some perhaps even more than 30 years. So now, this long experience that you have had in the department, from your experience, the inputs, your suggestion matters. Now, many a times, all of us, in the WhatsApp group, in social media, in conversation, we are all critics. As educators, as teachers, as educational administrators, we all have reflective thoughts on how to improve our system. But those reflective thoughts and suggestions that we usually share in the social media platform or a conversation with colleagues often do not translate in the policy decision. But this is the opportunity that is given to all of us now that through this exercise, your valuable suggestions is sought. What you are saying, the suggestions, the viewpoints, way forward solutions that you will share matters now. So when it matters most, if we run away, if we avoid participating in the exercise, and in the area which is not taken into account, if we keep on sharing how to improve education department, those will not yield fruit. So from that point, this exercise is important for all of us. Therefore, all the district level, block level officials, including TOTs, and also the school heads of secondary schools we will sincerely request that it should be mandatory for all of us to have a say as to how I want to bring improvement in my department. Which are the policy areas that I notice? Which are the areas that some policy intervention is required? This is the time that all of us must partake, all of us must make our thoughts and opinion count. So this is why this is important. And as per the State Mission Director letter, by 5th August, we request all of you, by 5th August in the sense, not on 5th August. We have already received 2 feedback notes from 2 SDOs yesterday and feedback notes from the Nagaland Board of School Education. Very prompt. But today, right after going back from this session, I want everybody to look at the papers, to seriously think about what do we need to improve our education system. It can be teacher education, it can be school education, it can be the board. In terms of assessment, we give our suggestion because our voice, our opinion that we share matter now in the future policy decision. So, in this regard, not only school education, but we are also connected with the skilling, future ready workforce. So even the nodal agency of this are soliciting the school heads of school education to write the valuable inputs. Then so also early childhood to be taken up by the social welfare department. But we know that all the government schools having primary section have pre-primary classes attached to our schools. So in this, unlike many other states, pre-primary children are very much part of our system. So for example, even for the first one, early childhood education, in this also, we need to give our opinion. We need to give our suggestion. So that will be shared with the social welfare department, and from social welfare department to planning, and from the planning to NITI or further submission. Then likewise, higher education. There has to be a connectivity. What do we want higher education to be prepared of? Because when our children pass class 12, they're eventually landing up in higher education. So what are the things that we look forward to having in higher education to ensure connectivity between school, effective connectivity in the transition from school education to higher education? That also we need to think about it. Then we will know that in new education policy, the sports and physical education is very much, art, sports integrated education is now the future, or the very much integral part of our education system. So not only on the school, but on all the 5 pillars, those of us who are present here, our viewpoints, our feedback notes is important. Let us not say that we don't have time, because this is about, policy, consultation for taking policy decision to achieve Viksit Bharat by 2047. Because 2047 is the 100th year of Indian independence. So our nation is preparing to become a developed nation by 2047. But while we have to keep the broad vision of the nation, like our State Mission Director, Principal Director, and Commission Secretary have shared, we also need to think about our context. What do we need to do to make Nagaland a developed state? Later, this time, I'm very grateful to our State Mission Director for this support, and I want to also thank my colleague, Mr. Akam Iyer, who is the system analyst, in our Samagra Shiksha, and Mr. Atalu. He is the State Nipun PMU for preparing the district-wise indicators. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we have come up with district-wise indicators from the UDIs, and which we will be looking at. We'll let our experts have a look, and once it is okay, we'll give this data to you to have a look at and to analyze what is happening in your district. Now, since the print of this slide has also been given to you in your hand, I will not be, let us try to save some time. I'm sorry. One point. For school education, when you write your feedback notes on schooling building blocks, please keep your mind, your focus on basic skills, outcome-based education, and quality. Keep these 3 little points in mind, in your thoughts, and let these few focal points shape your opinion. So the details of the concept note, which is already there, and all of us are experts, all of us are master trainers. So I will not be repeating what is written there and what is already placed in your hand. But specific font size, spacing, New Times Roman. Since you're going to give us in soft copy, for a few exceptional cases, we'll do the editing and we'll do the setup. But for everyone, it will be difficult for us to do. So let us keep in mind the specification that is mentioned in the format. Because we're all experts, no instruction is required here. Then, so this is the format, name, designation, batch is particularly referred to IS officers. Now, how many district education officers are here? I want to see your hands. Thank you, sir, madam. I think we have 6. 6 or 7. Now, in this, it is very important to have the feedback note of deputy commissioners, all the deputy commissioners. So today, the DOs who are present here, not only that you coordinate with your subordinate officers in the sense in your district establishment, the block subdivisional establishment, and for the sub-divisional establishments with the TOTs, EBRC coordinators, and school heads, because we want to make sure that in Nagaland, everybody's voice is important. We want to make sure in this policy exercise. So, batch as in, year of appointment can be mentioned, because then current posting place, and Baki, name of the topic, you can write building block, schooling building blocks, and whatever the policy gap. Because this exercise is to connect between the policy and the ground reality, the ground requirement. So unless those of us who are working the field point out what are the policy gap, what are the decisions that is taken in Delhi or that is taken in Kohima, is not somehow, is not connecting with the ground requirement. Those are the things that we need to point out. And which are the areas that there are needs in the school, but somehow in the policy action plan, or policy and action plans are not being incorporated. That also you need to point out. Basically to bridge the gap, to make sure that policy meets the requirement, to make sure that the administrative decision is taken on the basis of the requirement. But that can be done only when we share what is our requirement. Right? Now, this is for the state, and the more I skip, the happier all of you will be. And all this timeline, let us just have oh, so nice. We have another slides. So, Anok, our state mission director, the district-wise indicators. Now, our state mission director has taken time to share the indicators, state indicators. So I'm going to share the focus on the district-wise indicators. Now, just like one of my teachers during the college days taught us, he said, well, in the process of teaching, he said, you read books, everything is there in the textbook. So all of us had a laugh, and we all agree with him that, of course, everything is the textbook. But just like that, in your folder, whatever is to be done is provided to you. Only has given a concept note on schooling building blocks to give us an idea, to give us a guide, to give us a sense of direction to our officers as to how to write feedback notes. What are the possible, which are the possible issues that we can pick to write our feedback notes? So there, in the concept note, which is already in your hand, the print concept note, so it emphasized for school education, it emphasized on improving GER and NER. That would mean achieving 100%. Basic schooling facilities, like basic infrastructure, and then other, schooling facilities. Saturation of aspirational facilities, like I suppose this is like smart classroom, digital, devices, and things, internet and things like that. Then special emphasis on socio-economically disadvantaged groups. So we don't have this in our state, if I'm not mistaken, sir, but we do have educationally backward blocks where our state is providing KGBVs, hostels for girls. Then focus on the foundational literacy and numeracy, formulation of new curriculum and textbooks, which our SCRT, the DIET, they are tirelessly working, for some time now. Then promoting multilingualism in school. Then integration of skilling, continuous professional development of teachers, leveraging technology for educational management, PM Shri, or PM School for Rising India, equitable education for children with special needs. So these are some of the areas that conceptualized in the concept note. Then some challenges also. Educational disparity. Educational disparity it can be between male and female, it can be between different social groups. Bridging NER gap, net enrollment ratio gap. Students dropout challenges, multiple categories of schools. For example, in SSA, we have fragmented, or we have a compartmentalized system of school system. For example, GPS in one location, GMS in another location, high school in another location, higher secondary school in another location. So this compartmentalized structure that we have now in new education policy, it seeks to have a composite school. Schools should be integrated from pre-primary to class 10, pre-primary to class 12. Children should, in order to ensure quality, continuity should be maintained. So new education policy is promoting, envisions to address this. Then single teacher and zero enrollment gap. Okay. Then infrastructure and resource gap, learning outcome, teacher vacancy issue, or in the sense school with less teacher issue, low coverage of skilling at secondary level, low coverage of CWSN, which our State Mission Director very candidly has pointed out this, that somehow he was sharing that we might be failing in effective identification of children with special needs, because these are, very specially able people who requires additional support. Then in the concept note, way forward is also already provided. So the idea as to how to write the feedback notes is already in the concept note. The printout, about 6-7 pages. It's already there in your hand. Now to write a good feedback notes, the next slides that I'm going to show you is important, because usually we see the state indicators compared to national indicator. But this time we have district-wise indicator. So this is going to give us the idea as to where, as a district, we stand, as a state, where do we stand? So now, good to go? Nice, all right, afternoon. Thank you. So now, when we talk about indicators, gross enrollment ratio, Akam, where are you? Akam, are you wrong? Okay, just in case I say that, I want to come to raise objection because he's the data expert. Then net enrollment ratio, then retention rate, dropout rate. These are the key education indicators. And many times, we NER, GR, so sometimes, we may be, also some of us may be wondering what is NER or GR. So the definition is here. Agami, if I miss anything, anytime, like, you there and you can come. So, I think you can read. Is it legible? Okay, so I'll not read out. Because in foundational literacy and numeracy, we are promoting reading speed, for our children with comprehension about 40 to 50 words per minute. So all of us are 100% excellent. So I leave it to everyone. So GER, gross enrollment ratio. Am I blocking anyone? No. So, for 2025, 2024, 25, 2023, 24, and 2022, 23, if we see gross enrollment ratio in the primary, some kind of consistency is there. In the sense we are hovering around 90, 91. Then upper primary and primary, now from 59, 55, now to we are on 54 as per the latest UDICE. Then the elementary, 2023, 24, 25, 73.58. Then 23, 24, 73. 22, 23, 76. So slight decline in the elementary that we see. Then secondary, we can see secondary slight increase of gross enrollment ratio in our state by about 1%. Then in higher secondary, from 30 in 2022-23, it came down to 29, so high secondary more or less kind of the same. So we need to improve our GER in the especially in upper primary and primary, secondary and high secondary. So district-wise, this table we're going to give all of you, but district-wise if we see, as you can see, we have placed for 2022-23, 2023-24 and 3 years. So we can see that there is slight improvement. Overall, okay, this is the overall for all the section, okay, the average. Dimapur, very good, in fact, 133%, because of course, this is also because of the migration of children from other districts to Dimapur. Then Kifri, see, we can see 52, 53, 52, and 53. So Kifri maintaining some consistency there. But we need to improve the figure. Kohima, 78, 82, 78, 79, more or less consistent. There's increase. So this is what we can see district-wise. Then NER, net enrollment across categories. That is for all the primary to secondary, high secondary. So net enrollment ratio overall is 2024, a slight increase. If you look at the green compared to others, our state, in the primary area, our state, net enrollment ratio, slight improvement is there. And lower part, the national average also you can see. But since we're going to share the slide, you can have a reference, and I will focus on the district. So if you see, Mon district made slight improvement in 2024-25. UDICE, Dimapur increased. Then Kifri more or less consistent as compared to 2024. Then the Longland you can see. Then Mokokchung, Peren, Peg, Tuensang, Woka, Zilboto. So if you see Kohima and Dimapur, NER is showing a higher rate, which also means that children perhaps, rural, migration from other districts perhaps are also taking place in Kohima and Dimapur. So it will be because of this reason. Then retention, state level, since State Mission Director has shared, I'll go to this district-wise retention. This is also very important. Retention, if you see from 2022-23, 23-24, 24-25, we can see slight Kohima slightly going down on an average. Then Kifri slightly down. Dimapur, some increase is there in retention. So congratulations to Dimapur team. Then more slight decrease of about 1%. Then Longland, huge increase in the retention indicated in 2024-25. Then Peren, Peg, 27 also indicated the increase from 49 to 65 in retention. Then Woka, slight decrease, the Bodo slight decrease. But since the slides, the plan and the analysis, the remarks, you can read it yourself, so we'll not be reading today. Now, this is the most important part, the dropout. So dropout, if we see more, congratulations to Mon team, because overall, if we look at our educational indicators, we are making some incremental improvement in our indicators, which perhaps it's too early to congratulate ourselves, but then some consolation for everyone actually. If we see, from ICU, off record, I want to say that from ICU, we are also gradually showing sign of emerging. If you look at Parak, Sarvekshan, report, if you look at PGI report, we are still very far away from, celebrating, but then there are some consolation, a positive sign of recovery is there. So all of us must garner as much courage as we can, and we buckle up and we do our job. So more, 2024-25 dropout rate decrease means good. Okay, here. In other decrease in the net GR is bad, but in dropout, increase is a bad sign, decrease is a good sign. Okay, so more decrease from 2022 to 17. So there's a decrease of dropout rate, but as compared to the national, we are still higher yet. Okay, so now we are comparing ourselves. So Dimapur down, Kifri down, Kohima down. Now Longland, dropout rate increase. So nothing much to nothing to panic about, but the team from our Longland who are here today, by way of this 5th Chief Secretary Conference feedback note exercise, you look at what could be the reason why possibly this increase in dropout rate is taking place between UDICE 2023-2024. So you have a good point to write on this. Decrease, Mokchung decrease, Head decrease. So the only increase that we see is Longland. So Woka has made monumental, brought down money in a monumental level from 23% to 6%. So congratulations to Woka team. But you also see how it has come down, your dropout rate. What have you done? If you have done something and the dropout rate has come down, then how do we scale up this one? How to break down to zero dropout rate? That should be the thing. But for example, we have not done anything and we still have gone down, then we say, hey, happened, right? So those things, that this should give a pointer for us to see why this trend is happening in our area and how do we improve. It's a thank you. So, so I want to read out the thank you part very loud and clear. But since this part is very important, see 5th Chief Secretary Conference note. Okay. Now, our voice is important. Your opinions is important. That is why we need to give some time to think about it, using our experience. What we are writing may not be the best thing, because in this, it is not about right and wrong. It is about what you think, what you feel. And whatever you feel, whatever you think should be done matters. Which is why I don't know how to write, or I'm not comfortable, it's not there. Everyone has to feel comfortable. Now, so everyone will write, and today our TOTs are not here, but the EBRC coordinators are here. Make sure that every TOTs write their views. They go to school, they monitor. There are lots of suggestions. They used to text us. In fact, all of you, most of you, except for our diet faculty and our subdivisional and the district officers. The rest, we get text from you. This suggestion, that suggestion. All those suggestions should be now in this format. Please give when it is invited. So make sure that you give. Now, another side of this thing is, this is also a huge exercise. That school education, being one of the biggest department, it is expected that maximum number of officers or officials in the department write the views and give. So we look forward to compile around at least 500 to 1,000 opinions. It's important. And now, by 5th August, no, not by, before 5th August, you give us in the email, soft copy, in Word file, we compile it, and in the state level, we sit with our state officers, and we compile, we analyze your viewpoints, your suggestions, and we compile it into a 2-page state-specific note. But whatever you submit, everything will be submitted to Planning and Transformation Department, and Planning and Transformation Department will submit to ETIO. So everybody who submit will go to the ministry. So either you mail it to the given email ID, or you can WhatsApp me also. So whichever is comfortable, but make sure that please write. Okay. If you don't write, again we'll come to your after your life. Okay. We'll come reminding. So let's not do this, because somebody force you to give your opinion is like, it cannot be. It'll be too good, to be true, to be meaningful also, when you're compelled to write. But when you feel that you should write, you take some time and write. It's important. So, with this, I wish all of us the very best for this 5th Chief Secretary Conference. Many good sessions are coming up. So everybody stay put, and because tomorrow it is only up to lunch and gaya. Okay, right? So nobody is going to suffer too much this time, right? Thank you, everyone.
A very new report. If my presentation, if I make any error in my presentation, because I didn't even have time to study in detail the documents, so I request all of you to make the corrections, and I also request my colleague Tanjin Lalla to help me out. Before I start off, I would like to first give a brief history about the previous NAS. As we all know, NAS has been happening from 2008, and the last National Achievement Survey took place in 2021. And after every achievement surveys, we are asked to do interventions, and every 2 years we used to have this survey, but after the COVID, it has been extended to every 3 years. Now the last one we used to have for class 3, 5 and 8, PRS 2024 was conducted for class 3, 6 and 9 based on NEP 2020 educational structure. Because now our educational structure has changed from foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage and secondary. PRS was conducted for the 3 stages. At the end of foundational stage, they have taken class 3 to be tested. And for the preparatory stage, class 6 was taken because class 5, they will finish the preparatory and they are in class 6 now. So they will have to be tested on the previous knowledge. So class 6 was taken to test the preparatory stage, and to test the middle stage, class 9 students were taken for this survey. And this survey was not just about testing the students' ability or how much does the children know, but then the survey also included a teacher questionnaire, pupil questionnaire and school questionnaire. Because learning does not take place in an isolated form in a classroom, but then so many factors affect the students' learning. So to understand the factors that affect the student learning, the survey also included pupils questionnaire. In the pupils questionnaire, there were no questions regarding the subject, but there were questions like, are your parents educated? Do you like coming to school? All those questions were general questions were there. Then the teacher questionnaire and the school questionnaire was also there. Achievement survey, so important for our country because all the developed countries, all the policies are data driven. But our country, whatever actions we were taking was not based on data, especially in the education sector. So our center has been trying to bring and use these national achievement surveys to bring about the real data and to identify where to intervene and bring about the actual change in our education system. So today, while I am presenting, from now on, from today's presentation onwards, whatever action that we take or whatever we do in education sector should be based on this report. Next year's school development plan or whatever proposals that you give, you should be based on the PRS 2024. Because PRS 24 says like this or shows like this, we want to do this and this. Or we are doing this and this because PRS 2024 is showing like this.
Are we looking good? Yeah.
Programmers are very serious.